So you're thinking about buying real estate in Northern Michigan? In this market, lots of people are having hesitation about buying a home. And I'll tell you what, I don't blame them. Interest rates are not what they used to be. The demand seems to be absolutely insane. And prices in certain markets are just going through the roof. Is this the right time to buy a home in the Northern Michigan real estate market? The answer is, well, it's complicated until it's not. You simply have to understand what's going on and go in with the plan. And if you do that, you're going to feel as confident as ever, whether your next step's going to be to buy a home, whether it's to stay in your current home, or anything in between. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the Northern Michigan real estate market. And by the end of this video, you're going to have a much better sense of what you should be doing. Hey, I'm TJ, and I'm a real estate agent here in Northern Michigan. This channel is all about helping you with your potential move to Northern Michigan. Subscribe if you haven't. And if you're thinking about moving to Northern Michigan, reach out. Give me a call, and I'll literally be the one picking up the phone to answer. I love to chat and go way beyond what I've told you here in this YouTube channel and help you with your concerns. But without further ado, let's jump right in. I always tell people when we start this process that you determine the success of this real estate process and journey. Listen, the market's always going to be changing, but your preparedness is what's going to make the difference. And I'm not saying this for a cop-out if my clients are unhappy. This is literally what I tell myself every day on behalf of my clients. The market has completely flipped from when I started in real estate to now. But in every season, I was always doing the things I could to make sure that my clients were prepared to be successful in whatever market we were in. With that being said, let's jump into the market and talk about how to be prepared. Let's start with interest rates. According to bankrate.com, the average rate of a 30-year fixed mortgage is 6.75%. You might think this is high, you might think this is low, but let's give you a little bit of a context. Compared to the highs of late 2023, it has dropped significantly. In October of 2023, the same national average was 7.89. So it's dropped over a full percentage point since that time. And it's interesting, just this last Friday, I got a text from a local lender. And he said, we've officially reached the lowest rates of 2025. This is driven by a weaker economy than expected, along with a lower impact from tariffs than expected. So relatively speaking, these rates are looking pretty good. If you find a home that you love and it's in your budget, it's a great time to make a decision to move forward. On the flip side, you might think that 6.75 is way too high. I mean, there were people getting interest rates in the 1s and 2s in the early COVID days. 6.75 seems like a complete ripoff. Well, when interest rates started climbing, people were sitting and waiting to get back to those COVID numbers. And some of those people have now been waiting 3 years. And I'm not telling you what you should do, but there are some definite drawbacks to waiting it out. If you find a home you love, it might get snatched off the market. And if you're just waiting because you want interest rates to drop, like I said, some people have been waiting 3 years. We might not ever see those COVID time interest rates ever again. So at that point, maybe home ownership isn't for you, or maybe you need to adjust those expectations a little bit. The other thing about waiting is that real estate keeps on appreciating. In the last 3 years, some homes here in Northern Michigan have literally doubled in value. So sometimes even waiting a few short months can be a huge detriment to what you can afford. So let's say, for instance, you buy today and then down the road, interest rates do drop significantly. And at that point, you're able to refinance your home and take advantage of those lower rates that hit the market. Something that people don't talk about is that when interest rates do drop, home prices increase. So in general, what I'm trying to say is if you find a home that you can afford, that you love, it's time to go today. I know that's a lot that I unpacked there about interest rates, so please reach out and we can chat a little bit more and dive deeper. With that being said, let's jump into some county-specific real estate numbers. So here's a chart of some real estate data in Grand Traverse County. As you can see, the numbers are empty, but I'm going to populate them as we talk through this. So just so you understand, this is comparing the first half of last year to the first half of this year. Technically a little past halfway through the year because I wanted to be as up-to-date as specific, so it's through July 15th. I split the numbers up between on-water and off-water statistics because those two categories are very different here in Northern Michigan. On-water properties are generally going to be a lot more expensive and get a lot of interest from out-of-town investors or second homeowners versus off-water properties, which are going to feel a lot more rural and a lot more down to earth for those people that are interested in those. So let's start with on-water properties. Between January 1st and July 15th of 2024, there were 97 sales. This year for those same dates were there 110 sales. If you compare the median list price between those two time periods, they're actually the same at $779,000. So we're seeing more sales listed at the same exact price. When we look at the median sale price of what the home actually sold for, we see a little bit of a different story. In 2024, the median sale price was $800,000, which is actually above the list price. Versus this year, the median sale price is $771,000. Last year, you had to pay an average of $10,000 over asking. And now you're paying an average of $19,000 less than asking price. So what do we know about the on-water properties in Grand Traverse County? There's going to be a lot more activity, but the sales prices are actually going to be a lot more favorable than they were last year. The good news about this is you're not going to have to go super aggressive and offer over the asking price. If you see a certain price on Zillow, you might not even have to pay that much for that home. This is a great thing if you're buying because it just makes the process so much more favorable for you. That being said, sellers don't like when they're trying to be talked down from their price, so make sure you have a good realtor in your corner. Now looking at off-water properties, sales last year, 514 units in Grand Traverse County. This year, we're seeing 583 sales. So just like the on-water properties, we are seeing an increase in activity. And interestingly enough, the median list price was exactly the same. $395,000 for both last year and this year. The median sale price last year was $391,000, just $4,000 less than the listing price. And this year it's $386,000, which is $9,000 less than the listing price. So not as a dramatic shift as we're seeing in the on-water properties. But what you can expect when looking at off-water properties in Grand Traverse County, whatever that sticker price on Zillow.com is going to be a pretty darn good estimate of what you're going to pay. But again, this is just case by case because we're talking about averages here. So again, make sure you have a good realtor in your corner. Now let's move over to Leelanau County. This is my hometown area and I know it like the back of my hand. With that being said, there's a lot less activity here, but let's look through the numbers. Let's start with the on-water properties, and there were 53 sales last year versus 44 sales this year. So it's actually slowed down a little bit. The median list price last year was $959,000, and this year it's $962,000. So very, very similar list prices from one year to the other. But the median sale price gets really interesting. Last year, the median sale price was $900,000, which is $60,000 less than the ask price. This year, it's $942,000, which is only $20,000 less than the list price. So what does this really mean? It means that sales are down, so the demand for the homes is up, which is causing that sale price to come up as well. It's interesting because it's the exact opposite trend of what we're seeing in Grand Traverse County. Now, why would this be? Grand Traverse County is home to Traverse City, the biggest town in all of northern Michigan. Traverse City got really popular, especially during COVID. People that know a little bit about northern Michigan started flocking over to Traverse City because of everything that it has to offer. But little did people know, Leelanau County has a lot to offer as well. So over time, the on-water properties in Leelanau County have become more and more sought after. I mean, you should have noticed it in the sale price. The on-water properties in Leelanau County are more than the on-water properties in Grand Traverse. I would not be surprised at all if the average on-water property in Leelanau County surpassed $1 million over the next couple years. So what does this mean if you're looking to buy an on-water property in Leelanau County? It means the market's not too crazy where you have to offer way over ask, but it's moving in that direction. A lot of the best properties and units in Leelanau County are being snagged up right away. And as you can see, the number of units being sold every year is going down. So it's a little bit concerning, but let's have a discussion and make sure that you have everything in place so that you're ready to jump when that right property hits the market. Now let's move to those off-water properties in Leelanau County. Last year, there was 107 sales. During the same time this year, 102 sales. The median list price last year was $469,000, and this year it's $579,000. That is a 23% increase year over year. Well, let's look at what they actually sold for. Last year, the average sale price was $460,000. This year, $554,000. That is a 20% increase year over year in the sales price of homes. That is absolutely insane. So what does this mean to you if you're looking to buy off-water property in Leelanau County? First of all, you better get into a home before prices increase even more. The trend has been one of consistently increasing, and honestly, I don't know when that trend's gonna stop. If you've watched one of my videos about Leelanau County, it just has so much to offer. No matter what kind of lifestyle you're looking for, it just has really become a desirable place for a ton of people. So with Leelanau County, I'd have a little bit more urgency than Grand Traverse County if you're looking to buy. So let's talk about now what you can do to feel more comfortable about your next steps. If you're not going to buy in this real estate market or you're just going to wait, just make sure you know the reasons for doing so. And you have a strategy of how to get back into the market if you are looking to buy a home. But if you're looking to buy in the short term, the biggest thing I can tell you is this: be more prepared than the next person. The market is going to reward those that are ready to pounce on whatever they're looking for. So the first thing you need to do is know exactly what you want. What are your need to haves versus your nice to haves? For the few days or few weeks it takes for you to think about it, it might be too late. So if you have as many of those things listed out for you and your family that you can think of, That's going to help tremendously. The other thing to be prepared is to have your financing ready. Get into the position that you are ready to buy the type of home that you're ready to live in. And make sure it's realistic for your income. And after you get to that point, go ahead and talk to some lenders. And don't just talk to them, get a pre-approval letter in hand so you understand what you can afford versus what you really want to spend. This tells every seller that you are super serious about the process. One thing that helps a ton with this process is getting extremely local. I've had so many buyers that were using bigger brands out there because they thought that that was the best because they had the best rates. But at the end of the day, their deals fell apart. Look for the local lenders and talk to a local realtor who can hook you up with a few options and see what's the best fit for you. Even within the same zip code, there are many factors that'll change depending on how you should analyze the property. I've seen so many people that shop from afar that haven't really come into the market locally. And at the end of the day, it screws them over when it comes time to deal. Honestly, the best thing you can do is make that trip to Northern Michigan so you can see it for yourself. But if you can't, I get it. Make sure you hook up with someone local, preferably a good realtor that can navigate that market for you. So if you're thinking about moving to the Traverse City area, please give me a call. I know Northern Michigan like the back of my hand. I've literally lived here my entire life. So the market is one thing, but your preparedness is another. So please reach out if you want to chat, and we'll dive a little deeper into what you need to do to be successful. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one.